just want to thank you for your incredible support. You have been there from the day I announced that I was going to run for president.
President Trump spends the day in Las Vegas attending the Nevada Republican Convention. Thanks for joining us on this very busy Saturday. The president taking off from the Valley just about 90 minutes ago. He was in town on a whirlwind tour talking about taxes and gearing up for the November elections. Contact 13 investigative reporter Joe Bartell is now live at the South Point Hotel and Casino. And Joe, the president spoke about his tax plan there.
Yeah, Tom, he spent a lot of his time speaking about his tax plan, but you name the topic, he really touched on it here at the showroom at the South Point. But as you mentioned, his day actually began over at the Nevada GOP convention at the Suncoast. Let's take you there right now. He was greeted with a standing ovation. His speech lasted about 30 minutes, and it sounded a lot like when he was campaigning for president. He took time talking about crime, the economy, and the current border and immigration controversies surrounding the separation of immigrant parents and their children. Then he headed here to the South Point for a roundtable discussion on taxes. About 200 people in the audience applauding the president and his accomplishments. Nevada Attorney General Adam Laxalt says Nevada is adding roughly 40,000 jobs a year in this economy, attributing a lot of that to the Trump tax cuts and reform passed just last year.
There was plenty of reform also, but we had one of the great really the greatest tax cut and reforms ever in our country's history, the biggest. And so I want to thank you. That was a fantastic job. Dean Heller.
And make no mistake, this was a campaign-style stop. He added in Nevada he will be here several more times between now and November as our state, once again, a key political battleground state coming up here for the midterms. Reporting live, Joe Bartels, 13 Action News.
Thanks, Joe. And his president met with applause and cheers inside the South Point and the Suncoast. Dozens of people weren't too happy to see him. Protesters against the president lined the streets outside the Suncoast. Many of them held signs and talked about their disagreements with the president's policies. And while President Trump was praising Senator Dean Heller, he also took a jab at Heller's opponent, Congresswoman Jackie Rosen, giving her one of his signature nicknames.
I have a great nickname for her, actually, but I'm not going to. No, we shouldn't do it. All right, I won't do it. Wacky Jackie.
President Trump went on to say Rosen would raise taxes. In response, Rosen fired back on Twitter, posting, "Is that the best you've got?" and saying in a statement, quote, "The president is attacking me with lies and petty insults because I'm not afraid to stand up to him." Democratic Congress members traveled to Texas today to visit one of the facilities housing children separated from their parents at the border. Here's Daria Albinger with the latest.
A heated protest at a border detention center this afternoon where demonstrators used their bodies trying to stop a bus filled with what they said was families and children about to be moved to a new location. Earlier in the day, more than 24 Democratic members of Congress visited facilities housing migrant children separated from their parents in McAllen, Texas.
It is, for all intents and purposes, a prison. This is not the way we treat people who are seeking asylum.
The president defending his administration's treatment of those migrant children detained at the border.
We will have millions and millions of people pouring through our country with all of the problems that would cause with crime and schools.
One congressman visiting the McAllen facility describing a room with mounds of Mylar, those Mylar blankets covering little girls.
They were scared little girls who deserve, as challenging as the law is, deserve the values and the ethical good treatment that we as Americans are here to demand and to make sure that they receive.
The U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency says 500 kids have been reunited with their families. More than 1,800 children still waiting. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Well, you already know it's blazing hot outside, but here's the good news. We only have 3 hours left on our excessive heat warning, of course, still including all of the Las Vegas Valley and surrounding areas. And for area mountains, that heat advisory also will expire at 8 o'clock this evening. Doesn't mean it's not going to be hot in the next several days. It's just not going to be quite as hot. Here's where we stand as we speak. 110 at McCarran, 108 Nellis Air Force Base, Centennial Hills at 108, and Green Valley at 109. There are your current wind speeds. So breezy to even a little windy around some parts of the valley. Henderson with 20-mile-per-hour winds. These are sustained wind speeds. 21 in North Las Vegas and 14 at McCarran. So officially in the breezy category at the airport. There are the numbers for the rest of the evening. We'll continue to see clear skies. The breezes are going to hang around until the late night hours, but they are going to ease off on your Sunday. So I'll tell you whether winds are going to make a comeback this week and just how cool it's going to get on your Sunday in your 13 First Alert forecast.
A man is dead after North Las Vegas police say he was hit by a vehicle while crossing the road. It happened near Camino al Norte and Ben Arrow last night. So far, there's no word on who's at fault, but police say the driver stayed on scene and didn't show any signs of impairment. And you may remember that intersection because of this girl. 6-year-old Mia Decker was killed in that same crosswalk, also on a Friday night 7 years ago. Mia's death captured the attention of our entire valley, and 13 Action News anchor Leslie Marine has more on the safety changes that were made at that intersection.
Police cars surround this intersection once again. This time police say it was a young man killed, but 7 years ago, it was this little girl.
She will put a smile on anybody's face. You're having a bad day, she'll just walk up to you and you know you're fine.
Mia Decker was described by family as a little angel. Her life was cut short at just 6 years old. Mia and 2 other little girls were in the marked crosswalk at Camino El Dorado and Bet Arrow Drive when they were hit by an elderly driver. After Mia's death, her mom fought hard for changes at that intersection, and she got her wish. With the help of the entire valley and 13 Action News, we led a traffic safety campaign called Be Smart, Be Safe.
Everybody's gotten involved, because of this, because of our tragedy. And you see so many now that are happening that, again, can be very preventable.
New signs with flashing lights are now at that intersection. Mia's family has left the valley because living here has been too difficult. The driver in the crash, Alice Alava, was 78 at the time. She was convicted and sentenced in 2012. A judge suspended Alava's driver's license for 2 years and ordered her to pay fines totaling $5,000. Leslie Marine, 13 Action News.
Firefighters expect to contain the Pine Creek fire at Red Rock Canyon tonight. At least 91 acres have burned, and it's now about 70% contained. The scenic drive is open, but the Pine Creek parking lot is closed, and so are some trails nearby. A boil water advisory has been issued in Laughlin after a water main break. Water in the Casino Drive corridor is shut down. The map you see on your screen right there shows where that order has been issued. Properties outside of that area on the map are not affected by the advisory. We have full information on that advisory on our website at ktnv.com, plus some instructions on how to boil water for drinking and cooking. Well, it's the 1-year anniversary of the Armory opening up at the T-Mobile Arena, and right now Golden Knights fans are getting their hands on some unique merchandise. They can buy limited edition products and collectibles. The Armory is open until 8 p.m. Right now, the Vegas Valley Fire versus Police are playing in a charity hockey game right now at City National Arena where the Golden Knights practice. Derek Englund is also playing. Proceeds go to the Injured Police Officers Fund. A couple says it sounded like a cry for mom, but it wasn't coming from a person. See how a little bear cub escaped from a construction site. And with all those hot temperatures, keeping your skin and your body safe is a top priority, but you may not think of one item that could make you sick if left out in the heat for too long. And count on Chopper 13 to bring you breaking news fast and first. We'll be right back. All right, well, caught on camera, a Wisconsin couple waking up to a cry for help in the middle of the night coming from their basement that was under construction. They found a bear cub that had fallen and couldn't get out. The couple saw the mama bear pacing back and forth, so they called police and wildlife officials. They lowered a ladder down into the pit so that bear could climb out, and the cub did the rest. It climbed out safely and ran off into the woods. Well, there are plenty of ways to stay cool if you want to get outside this weekend. You can go to the Fremont Street Experience and you can ride the zip line for $25. It's actually about 20 degrees cooler underneath the canopy because it blocks the sun, and the AC from all those casinos with their doors open help cool things down. And of course, there's always Mount Charleston, which is usually 20 degrees cooler than the rest of the valley.
It's way better, way cooler. You could feel the breeze a lot.
And if you're adventurous, you want to take a little bit more of a longer day trip, you can go cool off inside Lehman's Caves near Great Basin National Park. It's 200 miles away with lows in the 50s. Sounds nice right about now. And as things heat up, there's something else you'll want to watch out for. The heat can also affect the medication that you take. Kumasi Aaron is checking out the concern and found a surprising place you don't want to store your meds.
Kale Frisch, like most of us, looks forward to the sunny days of summer.
When we live downtown.
While she may not have a problem being out in the sun, she knows her EpiPen might.
So I have specific reactions to some fruits, and it can be in lots of different things. So we carry it, and I carry one in my purse. I leave one in my car when it's cold out, but not when it's summertime out.
Doctors say taking meds out of your hot car and leaving them in a cool place is something we should all do this summer, even with over-the-counter drugs many of us use every day.
How big of an impact can the sun have on our medications?
It can have a huge impact, can degrade your medications.
Yamel Irizarry is a clinical pharmacy specialist at Kaiser Permanente and says the sun can break down a medication chemically and physically.
It will reduce the potency of the medication, which in turn will not make it work as well as it's supposed to.
And Irizarry says with medications like EpiPens, insulin, or in this example, antibiotics, the consequences can be dire.
It's not potentially going to work as well. It might not actually even clear out the bacteria, so you still have an infection. And two, it might actually increase the risk of that medication not working for you in the future.
So if not in a hot car or on a windowsill, where should you leave your medication? Well, not where you might think.
So there's a medication cabinet in our restrooms, right? Probably should not be storing our meds there because it does get hot, it gets steamy, so both the heat and the moisture from that can affect our medication integrity.
Unless it needs to be refrigerated, store your medicine somewhere cool and dry, like a drawer in your nightstand. Enjoying the sunny days of summer, meant for you, not your medication. I'm Kumasi Aaron.
Well, speaking of heat, June hasn't given us very many breaks this time around. And just keep in mind that July and August are our hottest months here in Las Vegas. But nevertheless, we continue to see clear skies. Temperature is going to get a little bit better over the next couple of days, but it doesn't mean that they're still they're not going to be quite hot. You can see all across the desert southwest, almost completely cloudless. That's because high pressure is in control. Our old friend that brings us the blazing heat, that's going to continue to move into the area, sort of buckle over. Again, we're going to lose the excessive heat warning in just a couple of hours, but temperatures are still going to be very, very hot and in the triple digits. We do have systems here and there that are going to pass to our north, but not close enough to bring us any type of significant cool down. By Wednesday, we'll see breezy winds, and we'll continue to see breezes as we head into Thursday and Friday. Now, here is your forecast over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, the best of the bunch, down to 105. This afternoon, we hit 110. I'm waiting on that final number for the day. But you can see we're just going to be below 110 or just below as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The good news is that we're not going to be approaching any records along the 113, 114, 115 lines, and we're going to be sort of in the middle between the averages and records. And as far as the gusts are concerned, it's going to be very light over the next couple of days. That's why they extended that ozone advisory, that air quality advisory, because we haven't seen a whole lot of wind to sort of get some of that away from the area. But as we head again to later on in the week, we'll see a few more breezes out there. Your allergy forecast remaining pretty consistent over the next couple of days, sort of in the moderate category, not quite getting to 6, but close to it as we head to later in the week and as the winds sort of crank up just a little bit. Here's where we stand right now. 110 still at McCarran, 109 North Las Vegas, Green Valley sitting at 109, Centennial Hills at 108, and Summerlin, of course, the difference a little bit of elevation makes at 102 degrees as we speak. Overnight temperatures, this is the time you want to head out and walk the pooch if you do have dogs, because with not as much sunshine, definitely the asphalt is not as hot at this time in the morning. So 82 degrees by tomorrow morning. These are the lows, of course. Anthem 78 degrees, Sunrise Manor at 81, and North Las Vegas at 81. Tomorrow, still hot, but better. 105 for central portions of the valley. Henderson at 107, Boulder City also at 107. Centennial Hills coming in at 103. There's your day planner for tomorrow. Notice no 105s plus. That's good news. Lots of sunshine, not a whole lot of wind, not a whole lot of breezes, so no blow dryer effect for tomorrow. There's your outdoors look. Still going to be hot if you're planning to doing any hiking. Red Rock, best to go very, very early. Lake Mead's going to be hot. Not so sure that it'll be friendly for boating. I think 12-mile-per-hour winds for you boating experts. I think that's still a little high. 105 tomorrow, and then we continue right along or just below 110 overnight temperatures in the low 80s. We do pick up some breezes later on in the week, and then we have a system that's going to approach and come close enough, it looks like next weekend, to actually bring us down closer to 100, but that won't be until next weekend. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Carla. Well, protests continue in East Pittsburgh after a 17-year-old was shot and killed by a police officer. The shooting was caught on video by a woman inside a nearby apartment. ABC's Kenneth Moten talks with her and with protesters as they demand answers for the death of Antoine Rose.
Protests continue in Pittsburgh as demonstrators shut down roads and bridges, demanding justice for 17-year-old Antoine Rose.
It's time for police to be held accountable for their behavior.
The rain not stopping those protesters who joined an already planned Juneteenth Freedom Parade, which commemorates the end of slavery in the U.S.
Nobody should be shot in the back. We're not tolerating no more deaths.
Antoine was shot and killed by East Pittsburgh police officer Michael Rossfeld as he ran away during a traffic stop Tuesday night. For the first time, the witness who captured the incident on video talked about what led her to start recording.
The tone of the officer's voice, his tone, he was very harsh, he was screaming, and he was just very aggressive.
Investigators say the car Antoine was riding in matched the description of a vehicle possibly involved in a drive-by shooting minutes before. The district attorney saying an empty 9mm gun clip was found in the teen's front pocket after the shooting.
I'm not going to talk about everything that happened that night, but you asked me the question, did he have a 9mm, did he have a clip? He had a clip in his pocket.
But for many, there is no justification for the shooting.
When are they going to start training these people to really police? They're not policing.
They're not policing.
Those protesters now hoping for change. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Pittsburgh.
A congressional candidate from South Carolina is hospitalized after a wrong-way crash last night. Katie Arrington and a friend were driving when the driver hit them. They were both seriously injured. The wrong-way driver was killed. Arrington suffered a fractured back, broken ribs, and the partial collapse of a leg artery. She will have to have surgery on her small intestine and her colon. Thousands of people marched through central London on the second anniversary of the Brexit referendum. They want to call on the UK government to give the British people a vote on the final Brexit deal. Organizers say that if a Brexit deal is rejected by UK's Parliament, the British people should have a vote on any final terms of the UK's exit out of the European Union. Well, there are plenty of job openings around our valley, and we're working with Nevada Job Connect to make sure you know about them. There's an opening for an alarm dispatcher with a year of customer service experience. Pay for that is $12 an hour. Also, an opening for a human resources representative. Pay is $11 an hour plus benefits. And an opening for a certified traffic control flagger. Pay starts at $11.50 an hour. For more information on these jobs and other openings around the valley, just go to ktnv.com/jobs. And the Nevada Highway Patrol will hold another job fair next week, the agency looking to fill several positions. NHP does require candidates to take a fitness exam, which tests your jumping, your agility, and your running skills. The fair is June 30th at NHP headquarters at 7 a.m. All right, well, this next group of women are defying boundaries. One of them is changing the view and the culture of the police force. Hear about her message. And a groundbreaking win for Saudi women. They're finally in the driver's seat. We'll be right back. All right, well, this just in, a victory won for women in Saudi Arabia. They are now allowed to drive for the first time in their country. The world's last remaining ban on women driving was lifted just hours ago. For years, women in Saudi Arabia have had to rely on men to run basic errands for them, drive them to work, and navigate around. An NYPD officer is making history. She's the first female officer there to wear a turban while on duty. Scripps reporter Chris Welch talks with her and reveals the message that she hopes to send.
She wears it with pride, the badge, but also this turban.
It's a tradition and it's part of who we are.
Gursoch Kar is the first female Sikh NYPD officer to wear one.
It's a great way of letting people know who you are, and it's nice when people appreciate your differences and they accept it.
The 20-year-old Queens native completed her auxiliary training at the New York Police Academy this year, fulfilling a dream that just a few short years ago seemed out of reach. But when news came in 2016 that the NYPD would start allowing officers to wear turbans,
I was just speechless.
For her, it's just one more symbolic step forward for a religious community that's been faced with abuse ever since 9/11.
People would say mean things like, oh, what are you hiding underneath there? Is there a bomb there? Are you hiding a weapon there?
But her religion, she says, is the opposite of hate and is more about serving community. Carr says she wants to use the multiple languages she speaks to help others who don't speak English and need to talk to a police officer. And she says if we can all help each other, it'll make our communities better.
And we'll become better people.
Reporting in Queens, New York, I'm Chris Welch.
Amazing story there. All right, well, stay with us. We'll have a final check of your weather after the break. And don't forget to download the all-new 13 Action News app. It features live streaming, video on demand, and a handy weather radar. It's free in the App Store and Google Play. Now, here's a preview of World News Tonight.
Coming up, the immigration firestorm, dramatic border protests as President Trump hits the road, and some 40 million Americans in the severe storm threat zone. Plus, for families making vacation plans, new key ways to save.
All right, well, here's a look at what's coming up in tonight's primetime lineup right here on ABC at 8, America's Funniest Home Videos at 9, 2020. Then, of course, keep it right here for 13 Action News at 11.
All right, there's your 13 First Alert 7-day planner. Things getting a little better tomorrow. 105 is definitely better than 110 plus. Also, the excessive heat warning will expire in about 2.5 hours. We'll be just below 110 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then a system is going to actually come close enough to pick up the breezes, but also to bring us down closer to 100 toward the end of the week.
Never thought 100 would be considered a cool
I know,
down.
that's a cool down.
Take it while you can get it, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our news for right now. Stay with us for world news coming up next. We're always on at ktnv.com, our mobile app and Roku channel, and the latest version of Apple TV. We'll see you right back here in half an hour for 13 Action News Live at 6. Thanks for watching, everyone.